Good evening. We present the news summary for today, Tuesday, 19th of October. The National Assembly unanimously voted on a motion tabled by the Women's Caucus to mark World Breast Cancer Day. It was the chairperson of the committee, Regina Isparon, who presented the motion on behalf of the committee. She called on the Ministry of Health to start a relentless battle for early screening of patients to detect cancer, in the process save lives. The system where visitors as well as returning Seychellois need to seek authorization before entering the country will stay in place as long as the COVID-19 pandemic persists. It is a company, Travisry, which is managing the system under an agreement with the Seychelles government, where people entering the country must provide proof of negative PCR test. The minister responsible for transport, Anthony Dejac, made the declaration whilst answering questions in the National Assembly from the leader of the opposition, Sébastien Pillet. Both visitors and Seychellois citizens pay a fee that goes towards the operational cost and services provided by the Travisry. The Indian Ocean Commission handed over 2 ventilators, monitors, and a PCR testing machine and reagents to the Ministry of Health. It was the Secretary General of the Commission, Vilayudom Marimutu, who presented the equipment to the Minister, Peggy Vidot. The equipment are the latest in a series of donations made by the Indian Ocean Commission since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Prior donations included protective equipment. And Mr. Marimutu called on President Ramkalawan this morning at State House. It was the first meeting between the two leaders. The discussion centered around the relations between Seychelles and the Indian Ocean Commission. He was accompanied by Seychelloise Gina Bon, a senior officer of the Indian Ocean Commission. They are based in Eben, Mauritius. The new Australian High Commissioner to Seychelles, Dr. Kate O'Shaughnessy, presented her accreditation documents to President Ramkalawan at State House this morning. Dr. Kate O'Shaughnessy replaces Mrs. Jenny D, who occupied the post until August last year. Dr. Kate is based in Paulwy, Mauritius, and this is her first visit to Seychelles. She also paid a courtesy call on the Vice President, Ahmed Afif.
Firstly, let me say what a privilege and an honour it was to present my credentials to His Excellency the President this morning. I was born in 1976, which was the year that Seychelles obtained independence. So I feel there's a special connection between me and the Seychelles, but also between our two countries. The relationship is so warm and close. The President and I talked specifically about cooperation in the blue economy area. Australia's peak scientific body, CSIRO, and the Seychelles Fisheries Authority signed an MOU in 2017, and I'm pleased that they're launching a project tomorrow on biodiversity conservation in the Indian Ocean here around Seychelles. We also talked about collaboration at COP26, which is such an important conference for Seychelles and for Australia. Australia particularly supports Seychelles very strongly in promoting the idea that ODA eligibility is not necessarily the right criteria to look at the development of small island states, and that we need to think more carefully about small island states' vulnerability and support them to weather these changes. So Australia is really looking forward to partnering with Seychelles on this important issue. Educational cooperation is really important between Australia and Seychelles. You probably know that there's many Seychellois diaspora in Australia who've stayed on after studies, and we're really pleased that many Seychellois who've studied in Australia have prominent positions in the private sector and in the public sector, so we hope to continue that collaboration. The Vice President and I talked about Seychelles' real success in managing COVID. Australia, in fact, looks to Seychelles in terms of a good example of how to bring vaccination rates up and open up the economy safely. Australia is still closed, but looking forward to opening our borders partially in a couple of weeks' time, and so it was really useful to learn from the Vice President how Seychelles has approached this problem. We also talked about Seychelles' efforts to diversify the economy. Of course, the blue economy is an important issue for Seychelles, and this is an area where Australia is really prepared and primed to cooperate with Seychelles, so I'm looking forward to working on that issue.
This was a news summary. Thank you for your attention.